Welcome back, students. In the last class, we saw the mutiny and revolt of 1857. Today, we shall see how the company fights back. Unnerved by the scale of upheaval, the British East India Company decided to repress the revolt with all its might. So, it brought in more reinforcements from England in the form of soldiers and ammunition, passed new laws so that the rebels could be convicted or punished with ease, and then they moved into the storm centers of the revolt, or the nodal points. Delhi was recaptured from the rebel forces in September 1857, and Bahadur Shah Zafar was tried in court and sentenced to life imprisonment. He with his wife Begum Zeenat Mahal were sent to prison in Rangoon in October 1858. There he died 4 years later in November 1862. The recapture of Delhi, however, did not mean that the rebellion died down. People still continued to resist and battle the British. The British had to fight for 2 years to suppress the massive forces of this rebellion. Lucknow was taken in March 1858 and Rani Lakshmibai was defeated and killed in June 1858. Tatya Tope escaped to central India and he continued to fight a guerrilla warfare with the support of many tribal and peasant leaders. He was captured and tried and killed in April 1859. Just as the victories against the British were encouraging the rebellion earlier, now the defeat of the rebel forces encouraged desertions. The British tried their best to win back the loyalty of the people. They even announced rewards for loyal landholders, that they would be allowed to continue and to enjoy the traditional rights over their lands. And those who have rebelled were even told that if they submitted to the British, that is, if they surrendered, and if they had not killed any white people, they would remain safe and their rights and claims to the land would not be denied. Nevertheless, hundreds of sepoys, rebels, nawabs and rajas were tried and hanged. By the end of 1859, the British had regained control of the country, but they could not continue ruling the land with the same policies anymore. They had to bring about changes. Let's see what they did. First, the British Parliament passed a new act in 1858 and transferred the powers of the East India Company to the British Crown, so as to ensure a more responsible management of the Indian affairs. A member of the British Cabinet was appointed Secretary of State for India and made responsible for all the matters related to the governance of India. He was given a council to advise him called the India Council. The Governor General of India was given the title of Viceroy, that is, a personal representative of the Crown. Through these measures, the British government accepted direct responsibility for ruling India. All the ruling chiefs of the country were assured that their territory would never be annexed in future. They were allowed to pass on their kingdoms to their heirs, including adopted sons. However, they were made to acknowledge the British Queen as their sovereign paramount. That means supreme power. Thus, the Indian rulers were to hold their kingdoms as subordinates of the British Crown. It was also decided that the proportion of Indian soldiers in the army would be reduced and a number of European soldiers would be increased. It was also decided that instead of recruiting soldiers from Awadh, Bihar and Central India and South India, more soldiers would be recruited from among the Gurkhas and the Sikhs and the Pathans. The land and property of Muslims was confiscated on a large scale and they were treated with suspicion and hostility. Hostility means anger. The British believed that they were responsible for the rebellion in a big way. They also decided to respect the customary religious and social practices of the people in India. Policies were also made to protect landlords and zamindars and to give them security of rights over their lands. Thus, a new phase of history began after 1857.